unfortunately the Dreamcast suffered, well, an untimely death with only a couple of years lifespan, and mine, unfortunately, the laser's gone in it, which is a pretty common thing with these things. I wanted to record a video for Sega Rally, so I thought, well, that's okay, because I could just use my Japanese Dreamcast and then use the Utopia CD to do it. But it still wouldn't play even with that. So what's the best way to get around it? Well, of course, everyone's using GDEMU little chips now to put in these things. So I thought, oh, I'll go down that route. But then you need the VA1 board to do it, which fortunately this UK model that I got is the right board for it. So I look into it, and then you see that the boards themselves are dead expensive. I think they're about 80 quid or something daft like that. But I picked this one up on AliExpress, and yes, they are clones, but apparently they still work fine. So that's alright, that's all well and good. But then I hear about the power supply issues, which means it overheats because it's drawing less power. So then I bought the Dream PSU, and I thought, well, that's fine. But then you need the SD card, so I have to buy a decent SD card for it. And then I thought, well, might as well get the battery replacement, so you can just solder this into the board, like where the other one is, and you can pop a battery in and out whenever you feel like it. Then I thought, well, I might as well go the whole hog, hadn't I, really? Rather than having a plain white Dreamcast, I bought a smoke grey shell instead. So the thing is it easy enough to do? Everyone seems to be doing it. So let's attempt it. The first thing we need to do is take the original Dreamcast apart. So with this, we've just got 4 screws, 1 in each corner. Now once the lid's off, we need the bottom board for this and the controller ports. So the power supply becomes redundant, so we'll just get rid of that. Next thing is the disk drive, so we'll get rid of that. And that just comes away, easy enough. I'm going to pop this ribbon cable off because this goes to the controller port, so just leave that open there. And I'm going to undo that one then. That's 4 screws to remove that. Just remove the fan like that. It's a bit fiddly, but because the controller ports sit inside this front panel, that needs to come back a bit so you can lever it out. It comes away nicely. Of course, this front panel is now stuck under this board, so we need to remove the metal shield. But first I'm going to take off the fan. And then I'm going to undo all these screws here. So there's 1 there, 3 at the back there, 1 here and 1 here. I've already done the fan screw just. Right, that's all away from that. So I'm just going to take the power switch off. I'm going to keep all the screws relatively close to what they belong to, and then when I transfer everything over, I know where they're going to go. So hopefully we can just pry this up somehow. Like that. There's the fan shroud. And there we go. So this is the board that we need to keep hold of. So this is going to go into my smoke shell. So a lot of my components I bought from, is it Kaiko, I think it is, this company. They're relatively cheap. Some parts you can find cheaper elsewhere, but you may have to wait a bit longer to get them, as these aren't that far away. You know, it's only in Worcester in the UK. It's not that far away, so it came pretty quickly. You can buy them on AliExpress, but I think you pay a little bit more on there. These are discounted at the moment at £35, so that's actually really cheap. I've seen a lot on the internet going for like nearly 100 quid. and it's got the springs already in there, so this opens up relatively smoothly. Power button there, and it's got the modem connection. So I just need to put this straight in there. And there we go. To be fair, that's a very tight squeeze, but it clicked in nicely. So I'm just going to put these screws back in. One thing I did miss out there was a bloody fan shroud, so unfortunately to undo this again, just to raise it up a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is put the power supply in. So this slots on top of the legs. I used to do this with the old power supplies, and I put my things on top of there and stab myself with them, so just be careful when you're pushing this on. And you'll have one screw hole available on the side there, so just pop one of them in. That's it, and that's nice and secure. So this one will come with a barrel power supply, and this will lead to the back there, which with this you do get the little clip. Unfortunately this one's white, so it's going to look a bit daft on the back. But that just slots in there like so, and then we wind this on. I think maybe one day I'll probably paint that black so it doesn't look so stupid. Now the best thing to do with that is probably just get a set of pliers, or if you have got a little spanner to hand, just tighten that up. I haven't at the moment, but I will do it. So now I've got that done, I'm going to put the power switch on, so that just goes back where it came from. Just feed it down the side there, so a couple of screws in. And this now comes up to that port there. So the next thing to do is put on the GDEMU unit, so that would clip into where the disk drive is, sits into that block there, but flaps around. But this kit does come with standoff legs, so we just pop a couple in into the board. So it's not the greatest fix in the world, but it sits level. Right, we'll move that out of the way. The next thing to do is to change the battery. So I will need a soldering iron for this. Okay, so this little kit comes with a little diagram, doesn't give you much explanation, but you've got the symbols here. You've got fuse, cap, the R1 and LED and the battery. So with the battery, it has got two legs that fold over, so I just need to bring them straight, and hopefully I can just desolder this without destroying it. It's loose now, hopefully you can peel that off. Got a little leg in the centre as well. Just see if we can get that angled up, just to make it a bit easier. And there we go. So we've got the 3-prong one here, so I just need to pop that in and hopefully solder in nicely. Sat there. So a bit of fresh solder on that. And that's that one done there. So next thing is the LED, which are them 2 pins there. It might be a bit more tricky, this one. as bad as I thought. It came straight out. So this is the new LED. So the positive side needs to go on this side here. And balance that in. There we go, straight through. Going to bend them over to hold it in place and then solder them in. Okay, just trim off the legs. And that's the LED done. Now it's the little blue thing here which says to use the fuse, so I'm going to take that one out there. Just rocket it out, so it's easy enough. Pop the fuse in. Again, it's going to be stuck on some solder underneath, so I'm just going to hold it there while I use the iron to pop it through like that. I'm going to fold them over just to hold it while I do fresh solder on. And that's that done. Cut the legs off. It's the fuse in. Right, the cap just on the edge there. So there's two prongs. They're the outer ones, not the centre one. What I'm going to do is just going to cut them level so we can get in there, but keeping it the right way around at the same time. Because I haven't got a clamp, which you need really for this. You have to balance everything. There we go. Trim the legs off. That's the cap in place. So the last thing is the most difficult thing, is this one here. Now they give you this little diode that you need to put in line with it. So I'm going to desolder this one leg and try and add it to it. It's going to be a bit of a pain. So that's that out there. So what I need to do is the black line end needs to go into the board, and that needs to join to the existing component. So I'm just going to tin this up so it's going to stick. This end through the board. And then all I'm going to do is just join those two together. Like I say, you need a clamp for this really, but you know, not everyone's got all the equipment. But you can manage it with two hands just, I suppose. I'm just going to add that there like that. And that's stuck on. I'm going to trim that off. And I'll trim that edge off. And that's it. That's the controller port done. Right, so I can now attach this into the Dreamcast. Hopefully, these are a bit tight, so... oh, it's actually gone down fine. plug the fan in. Plug the board in. And then screw it all together. So the next thing I bought was the 3D printed SD slot, so you can put your card in there and a spare one in here. And it comes with a little swirly reset button as well. This comes with all the screws needed to assemble this one, and a little instruction book as well. So what we do here, we've got an SD extender, which saves you either having that big hole in, so you have to insert the SD card there, or taking it apart or whatever. So I'm just going to pop this into here and then secure it down with 2 screws. Now with this I've noticed it comes with a bracket here which actually supports the board itself underneath, so it didn't actually need the standoff legs, so I'll actually remove them. So what I can do there is line that up and just screw it into there. Okay, I've noticed another problem is when I put this on, you're supposed to put 4 screws in from the side, but that interferes with the heat sink, so I'm actually going to leave them off, so I can screw this into the side. Okay, so now I've got that screwed into there. Make sure you put that in first, and then we plug the SD card into the board. Okay, so now this needs to go on top. And this can be secured in with 4 screws, so there's 2 on this side. And 2 on the other. Pop that onto the board, clip that back in, and then we've got a screw hole here and a long one there, which is that one. A small one for the back, which is all in place. Now that's it. I haven't got a battery at the moment for this, so I'm not going to bother. I did have to take the heat sinks off, so I'm just going to pop one on that one just there, the other one I can't get to. I probably could take it apart again and go inside, but not for the moment. So, pop the shell case back on. Hopefully this fits. Which it seems to be alright. Put the screws back in. Okay, there we go. Unfortunately I've got the bloody white version of that SD slot, but it doesn't matter because again I can just paint that black. Now to test it. Once you put your SD card into the computer, you can then format it with GUI format. Now you can Google search this and download it quite simply. Once it's formatted, you then need to find GDEMU 0.6, which again, just search online for that, and it will bring up this menu on the right. And once you've unzipped it, you'll get the 3 items in this box here. Now you just simply drag and drop into your SD card, and that's that section done. Now in order to transfer the games over, you need to have all your games as a CDI or GDI, depending on which you download. Again, I'm not telling you where you get that from, you can find that yourself. And on the root of your SD card, all you need to do is add new folder. How many games you got? If you've got 20 games, just add 20 new folders and then rename them to like 02, 03, 04 and so on. and in each one, so for example 02 would be your first game on the list. So like here I've got 18 wheeler, so I'll just drag that into 02 and let it copy. Once you've done that with all your games, take the SD card out and pop it in your Dreamcast. Okay, so this took a while to load up, but this is how it looks. So this is where all the games will be, and as we can see at folder 2 we've got 18 wheeler. So here goes the test. Press play and see if it actually works. This looks positive so far. And there we go, it actually works. For once, something actually bloody works.
Please select a truck. Asphalt Cowboy.
Just give it a try now and see if the game runs smoothly.
You're new, aren't you? If you got any problems, just call out. I'll give you a hand. Your destination for this job is Key West. Make sure you get there on time.
Ready? Go! Good morning, New York. 1110 KRWA Super Express Truckers Network. Here's our first song to wake you up. Here we go.
So there you go, a modification that actually works for once. This is so much better than pissing around with lasers all the time, because I'm sure a load of you out there have had lasers that go down on you and you're like, well, that means I have to get a second-hand Dreamcast or something like that and spending big money on it. Whereas this, all I did every month, I put away £30 to buy each part. So the shell was £35, I think it was. Yeah, it was 35 quid. Been reduced from something bigger like 50 quid, I can't remember. The power supply was 26 quid, which comes with the plug as well. The GDEMU board again was about £26 from AliExpress, works perfect, and the 3D printed SD holder and ribbon was about £6 something. Thought it might have been a low quality one, because there are ones out there for £12 plus, and it's absolutely spot on. There's nothing wrong with it. All the screws come with it, goes together perfectly. It's absolutely fine. And the battery mod, which is a few quid, you can get the rechargeable option, but the amount of time you use it, I don't know, it's up to you really. The shell's absolutely great. I thought it would have been a bit shit and probably wouldn't go together well. It goes together absolutely perfect. Providing you've got the VA1 board, I think it is, then you're good to go with this. It saves a lot of time. It means you don't have to bring all your bloody games down, because you know what the case is like, they're fragile as shit. So you just put all your games onto an SD card and you're sorted. Unfortunately on this mod, as I always expect something to go wrong, the only thing I did get wrong was the LED doesn't work, so I think I've got it the wrong way around. But no big deal, I can go back and desolder that and sort that out again. But otherwise, for what, over 4 or 5 months, I think I've bought everything separate, put it all together. It's cost 100 quid. You're looking about 80 quid for a Dreamcast console, and a gamble if it bloody works. And if it does work, the laser might go. So you're better off doing that. Get a nice 64 gig card. I think that'll store a shitload of games. There's not that many amazing games on the Dreamcast, unfortunately, but the ones that are great will fit on that card easily, and it's all sorted. Just power on and go. So there you go. You can build a Dreamcast quite easily, and even for someone simple like me, I've got know-how in some things, but there's always something that goes wrong, and this didn't go wrong at all. It went straightforward, dead simple to do. So if you're thinking about it, do it. Thanks for watching. If for some strange reason you like my videos, please consider subscribing so I don't feel so unpopular. Do you know what I mean?